So we're going to start with Kairos, which is the first of the four appeals. We are going to be doing more in terms of practice with the other three, but I want to introduce this idea. It's the lesser known of the four, and it's a strategy that is going to be kind of helpful to think about with your digital essay and with making it something that is current and timely, and part of the conversation, a relevant part of the conversation. So Kairos it's about context and timing. Some keywords that go along with it are timeliness, appropriateness, decorum, opportunity. It's about taking advantage of the moment, saying the right thing at the right time. And so because Kairos, because it's more about like the whole context, it's a little bit more abstract and situational. It really shows, or it really is about taking into consideration like a deep, or using a deep understanding of like individual rhetorical situations, knowing like what to say, when to say it. It's more big picture. It's a little difficult to provide like exact or concrete like examples and strategies, but one thing I would throw out there is the I have a dream speech. If you think about like what you know about that speech, like as soon as I say like I have a dream, everybody knows what I'm referring to because it is an example of a speech that was that is like a picture perfect example of Kairos, of context and timing and saying and delivering the right message, the right thing at the right time. For your essay, one thing to think about is making sure that you are saying something that is relevant, current, and contributes something now. That's not just rehashing things that have already been said, things that are old, writing a report. You want to think about first using only the most current examples, events, and information. Unless you're have one or more background sections that are for history, or you're trying to use history to make a comparison, and that's why you're using past events. You don't want to use outdated information to make a point now, or events that are 20 years old when there are current events happening right now that a reader would expect you to talk about. Use strategies that make the problem interesting and relevant to the reader, which gets back to showing how this issue is significant and important now. Use strategies to convince the audience how important it is to tackle the problem, or to tackle this issue right now. So when you're thinking about these two things together, you want to make sure that readers can see that it's interesting and relevant. They can engage with it at a human level, which is where kind of pathos comes in, and making sure they see how important it is to tackle it. And also make sure you're not saying the wrong thing to the reader. And a lot of that is about tone and wording and paying attention to your audience, and making sure that you're not, again, an example of the wrong thing would be something that's going to be offensive to the reader, something that's not really going to be taking their concerns or their points into consideration, something that's going to be using outdated information. So the goal is to say, the right thing at the right time. Pay attention to the current context, pay attention to timeliness, pay attention to your wording and your tone when it comes to your audience.